Last week, I made a video all about the 7 biggest beginner carnivore diet mistakes that I commonly see, but today I want to talk about my biggest mistake on the carnivore diet. So to find out what that is, stay tuned. Welcome back, my friends. My name is Sarah. I am known as Carnivore Yogi. Thank you so much for being here and clicking on today's video. Today, I want to talk about actually a few of my mistakes. My biggest one I'm going to save till last, but I do want to talk about these things because I have had a lot of new subscribers to the channel who are looking for more information on a carnivore diet, how to start, and I definitely like to talk about these things because I think it can help people as they're getting started in their journey. Now, as you guys know, this is definitely not medical advice. I am a certified nutrition coach as well as a quantum health coach and have coached quite a few people over the last 3.5 years, but please do work with someone if you are having issues beyond the scope of what you can find out in this video. All right, so let's jump into my first mistake. As I said, I'm gonna save the biggest one for last, but this could arguably be a pretty big mistake as well. And that was that, and this is not something I love admitting, that my priority wasn't necessarily my health, but it was to lose weight in the beginning. Now, yes, when I started a carnivore diet, I had a ton of health issues. That's how I kind of got desperate enough to do it. I had a lot of joint pain, inflammation. I was diagnosed with IBS. I had eczema. I was having trouble sleeping a lot because of the IBS. And I had a lot of lingering depression and anxiety. Those are just a few of the issues I had. And so when I started this diet, yes, I had all of those things, but I also wanted to lose weight. I wanted to lose about 15 pounds. And I think I prioritized that way too much. The thing I really didn't realize, which I should have, is that extra weight, being overweight, is actually a product of being unhealthy. It's a product of all that extra inflammation that I was experiencing. And so I see a lot of people doing this. I get messages in my inbox constantly from people, a lot of them mostly women, that want to lose weight using this diet, which you absolutely can, but that's like their number one priority. And so one of the things I wish that I had really done was look at, all right, you have all these health issues, let's take care of those, and then hopefully the weight will kind of take care of itself. But I was very impatient and I wanted the weight gone. Again, it was only like 15 pounds. And I've talked about this in previous videos, but I have been 100 pounds overweight before. I've actually lost 100 pounds 3 separate times in my life. The last time was after my daughter was born, almost 15 years ago. So I have been able to maintain that 100-pound weight loss finally, thank goodness. But I understand what it's like to be in a body that you're uncomfortable with. And I'm not fat shaming or anything like that. If someone's comfortable with the weight that they're at, then I'm happy for them and all for them. But I just never was comfortable with that. And so, yeah, I even was uncomfortable with 15 pounds. And I wish that I did not make that my biggest priority. And you know, the reason why I stuck with the carnivore diet wasn't because I was losing tons of weight and it was doing that, such a great job of that for me, but it was because all of those health issues that I had resolved pretty quickly. I was feeling 100 times better very quickly, which is why I really stuck with it. So if you do want to start the diet, definitely you can lose weight, but don't make that your number one priority. Make your priority lowering your A1C, lowering your blood pressure, getting rid of joint pain, sleeping better. All of those things are a much better goal than losing weight, right? It'll happen. It will happen, but don't make it your number one goal. The second mistake kind of goes along with number one, and that was fasting too much and too soon. I think there can be a lot of pressure to fast, and I will talk about my experience with fasting last year because I did do a lot last year, and it was very beneficial for me. But I think people should probably wait about 6 months, and I know that's a while for people, but I think before you start really playing around with fasting, you should really get comfortable with your hunger signals, with getting your leptin regulated, those satiety signals. You should really get fat adapted. And before you start doing a lot of fasting, you can absolutely lose weight without doing any fasting at all if that's something that you're trying to do. And if you're looking to do autophagy and get apoptosis, all of those things, just wait a little while, be patient, play the long game. You're gonna be getting so many benefits just from eliminating the processed foods, seed oils, all of those other things, and starting to eat a more nutrient dense diet. And I didn't see that again, right? I was just really like, let's lose the weight. And so what ended up happening for me with the fasting is that, and I've talked about this a million times, I lost my cycle. I started having issues with my sleep. It was honestly just too much too soon for my body. So I took a year-long break from fasting, and actually in 2021, I did quite a bit of fasting, and it was great. I didn't lose my cycle. I actually improved my hormones, improved my health, and got all those awesome autophagy benefits that everyone talks about with fasting. So I do believe in those. I'm not anti-fasting at all, but I just think people need to wait and don't copy what I did and start trying to do it right away, but just wait and be patient. Let your body have time to really adapt before you start doing a lot of fasting. My next mistake was electrolytes, which is something I feel like I talk ad nauseum about on this channel. You know, everybody has different needs when it comes to electrolytes. That is why I really love using a hair tissue mineral analysis if someone just can't figure it out. Now, I have listened to experts that say you need like 5 grams of sodium per day. And when I tried to take that much sodium in a day, my fingers would swell. I'd be in the bathroom peeing all night. And so I didn't need that much sodium. There's no prescribed amount of electrolytes that you are going to need. I also didn't take into account that sodium and potassium are in ratio to one another. So if you overload yourself with sodium, you're likely going to throw your potassium out of balance. This is another reason why I'm not a huge fan of the pre-made electrolyte packets, because the ratios in those packets are all different. Like the LMNT, which I love, or Element, I've been corrected on saying it wrong. I like those, they're tasty. But I can't really do those because the sodium potassium ratio doesn't work for me. I end up having to supplement with more potassium because the ratio is off for me. So I think those are great for some people, but for others, not so much. And, you know, someone like me, I'm a little bit more salt sensitive. I have to be careful, but I have clients who have been suffering with migraines for years. They do the hair tissue mineral analysis, the one I always recommend. I'll link in the information section below. But they find out that they need way more sodium than they're actually taking in, and that ends up getting rid of the migraine headaches, which is just awesome. So when I was doing this, I took the advice of you don't need electrolytes, which was really bad. Then I took the advice of taking too much sodium, not adding in potassium. And it wasn't until I just started doing a hair tissue mineral analysis and figuring it out myself of what my unique needs were that I got the electrolyte thing figured out. The next mistake I made was just eating beef and not adding seafood. Now, I do think it is important to add seafood because there's things in seafood you can't necessarily get in good amounts in beef, like your DHA, EPA, your iodine, selenium, all of those minerals, zinc. You can get some of that in meat, but it's absolutely nothing compared to what you could get from eating oysters, eating salmon roe or wild salmon, eating wild sardines. I just add those in about 3 times a week now, and I have fixed my omega-3 to 6 balance, which is important when it comes to heart health as well as mental health. I have some podcasts on that coming very soon. But it is important that we don't just have omega-6s and no omega-3s. There's a balance that we want to strike there. And so I did experience maybe a little more inflammation than I should have by not having that seafood in. And I think that I had started to become iodine deficient. Well, I know I had started to become iodine deficient. And I really didn't feel comfortable supplementing with a lot of iodine. So eating seafood fixed that. It's just a lot easier. So I think that it is important, especially to get the EPA, DHA, really helpful for brain health, really helpful for inflammation, that we have those things at least occasionally so that we don't have to do something like supplementing with iodine, right? All right, so here's the last one, saved that biggest mistake for last. And that was that I latched on to guru mentality. I was attracted to people who basically said they knew everything and everyone else was lying. And, you know, I see this a lot. I'm not one of these people who's super dogmatic and says, I have the answers and it's my way or the highway and I know everything, because I don't. I'm always learning. If you've been on this channel, I'm the first to admit when I'm wrong, when I do find out that I've messed something up or I'm wrong. But I have made the mistake of latching on to people who have this guru thing going on. So I just like to caution everyone to be careful when someone acts like they have all the answers and they know everything. I think the people that I trust the most are the ones that say, hey, this could work for you if you try it. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's worth a shot, right? Rather than this works for everyone. This doesn't work for anyone. This applies 100% of the time, or this doesn't. I think we have to have that discernment when it comes to our health. And it is, again, easy because we like to be told what to do. We like the 5 reasons to do this or the 5 steps to do that. But those things don't always work for everyone. So that has been my biggest mistake, is that I latched onto, followed, and even promoted people that, didn't necessarily have the answers and had a big ego. And so just use discernment and find out what works for you. Listen to your body. There's not going to be one specific ratio of fat to protein or one specific ratio of electrolytes or a schedule or eating windows that's going to be right for you, because it's going to change for you on a daily basis. It'll change for you as you go through your journey. I don't have to supplement with electrolytes nearly as much as I did a year ago, right? And so I do believe those carnivores that 10 years in say they don't take electrolytes. I believe them. And I think that works fine for them. But we should all just try to figure out what works best for us and not try to just follow someone that has a big ego and acts like they're the guru of everything. So that's my biggest mistake. And I hope that this video has been helpful. Maybe some tips in here, maybe some things that you can learn from. I'd love to hear from you below if you've been on this similar journey, if you've experienced these types of mistakes yourself, what you've learned. Just let's start a dialogue down in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk with you again soon.